Hey guys, so for today's video I have a new, or I guess a reformulated product from Kosas. So today we're going to be comparing the original 10-second eyeshadow, which I think was a bestseller for them, to the new 10-second eye gel watercolor eyeshadow, so a slightly different name. So I'll be going over cost and ingredients and claims and all of that, and then I'll apply the old product to one eye and the new product to the other. So as I'm filming this, I am actually getting my hair cut and colored in a couple hours, so you're going to see a bit of a before and after with that as well. So this is the second time that Kosas has reformulated one of their products, at least that I'm aware of. The first product they reformulated, I believe, was their mascara. So I do have a video comparing the old and the new formulas of the mascara if you'd like to check that out. Essentially, the new formula was intended to be kind of a more long-wearing formula is what they were going for. So as I said, I think this product was a bestseller for them, so that kind of raises the question, why did they tinker with it? So they say that their new formula is easier and quicker to use than ever. You don't have to shake it, which you do have to shake these. It doesn't spill, and it has a dreamy gel-like texture instead of a thin liquid formula. They say it's available in 6 wear everyday buildable neutrals that are so pretty. So let's talk about the shade options. So for the new formula, I have the shade Blaze, which is a neutral bronze, and they're saying that this is the color equivalent to Globe, which I have in their old formula. So for the new formula, I opted to get a color that I could compare fairly easily to the old formula. They also have Electric, which is a warm iridescent pearl, Simmer, which is a neutral beige champagne, Blaze, like I mentioned, Heat is a rose gold, Smolder is a warm copper, and they're saying that shade was formerly known as Copper Halo. I don't know why they just didn't give them the same shade name, but anyway. And then finally we have Fiery, which is a warm spicy brown, and that was formerly known as Element. So these are all neutrals. In the old formula they did have like a blue color, silver that might have been limited edition, just some other non-neutral colors, I guess. They say that these new products are the only neutrals you'll ever need for a loose, easy, undone look. So let's talk about the cost of the new product and how much product you are actually getting. So as you can see, there is quite a difference in terms of the size. This new formulation is 2 milliliters and it retails for $15. I purchased mine from Sephora. You can also get a set of 3 shades, I think, of your choosing on the Kosas website for $40. This old formulation was $28, but you got 6 milliliters, so 3 times the amount and a little less than twice the cost. I don't know if it would be fair to compare price per milliliter exactly, because it's a different formulation, and this is a gel, this is a liquid, this is a thinner formula, so you can kind of think of like a stick foundation, you typically get less than an ounce, whereas with a liquid foundation, you typically get an ounce is kind of the industry standard. So let's talk about the claims of the new product. So they're saying that it is a lightweight cooling formula that lets you play with soft diffused color and layer for more vibrance. They're dimensional neutrals with a little extra something for a sexy without trying mood and a pretty sheen that's glitter free. They go with any look from sweatpants to second martinis, glide on like gel watercolor to make your eyes instantly pop. Smooth, seamless color that lasts without creasing. And I did manage to find some of these on like Revolve and Violet Gray, so I was able to kind of compare how they were being described and some of the ingredients. So on Revolve, they said that this was a fast drying and crease resistant formula for buildable high impact color that stays all day. It's meant to be worn as a wash of color for the most modern take on a fresh eye. And I also found it on Violet Gray, and they said that this was pigment packed and budge proof. To me, it's a little kind of contradictory to say something is both pigment packed and a wash, but anyway. So both of these formulas, they say that they're buildable and either non-creasing or crease resistant. And as far as the ingredients go, both are quote unquote clean, if that is important to you or means something at this point. They are water-based, and they're both described as liquid skincare for your eyelids. And Kosas is a brand. I think they kind of market themselves as being makeup for skincare freaks. So makeup that also doubles as skincare and packed with clean treatment ingredients is what they say they have. And both of these, I think, have some of the same kind of hero ingredients. So they're packed with active ingredients like anti-aging, oh gosh, galactorobinone, maybe? Vitamin-rich jojoba oil and brightening orange flower water. And they kind of describe what those ingredients do in slightly different ways, but I think essentially it's the same. These are supposed to be non-irritating, ophthalmologist tested, and safe for sensitive eyes and contact lenses. So that G word that I had trouble pronouncing, galactorobinone, that is supposed to be smoothing and anti-aging. It helps lock color in place. So for the new formula, they say that it has shea butter and jojoba oil, and I did copy the full ingredients from the older formula. I don't see shea butter in there, which I guess kind of makes sense for a thicker formula. Like shea butter typically comes like at room temperature, it's solid, so I guess it would make sense that that would just not really jive with a liquid formula. But anyway, shea butter and jojoba oil are supposed to be moisturizing and vitamin rich. And for the new formula, it says they help the gel glide on. And orange flower water is supposed to be brightening and toning. Both are vegan, cruelty-free, gluten-free, and they're free of mineral oil, talc, silicones, fragrance, parabens, sulfates, and phthalates. The old formula also said that it didn't have PEG or petrolatum. I'll have to double check the ingredients for the new formula. So I'm not sure what PEG is actually short for, but it does have the Clean at Sephora marking, so if you can interpret that as being free of petrolatum, I'm not sure exactly. Okay, so let's talk about the texture of both of these. So like I said, the old formula is a liquid and the new formula is a gel. So I'm gonna shake this. And going back to the cost again. All right, so I'm gonna do kind of one lighter swatch and then see if I can maybe build it up as well. With this type of formula, I think I'd prefer to get less product and pay less money. Any kind of product like this, that might go bad sooner than like a powder eyeshadow, although to be honest, I think with most types of products, I would just prefer paying less and getting less product. In some cases, they'll have like a travel size and a normal size, and sometimes the packaging on the normal size is preferable in some way. But yeah, as a general matter, it makes it a lot easier to just pick up a few shades and do that. But with a lower price point, it is easier to maybe pick up a couple shades and not have to commit to as big an outlay. So I tried to layer them a little bit, but I think both the kind of lighter swatch and thicker swatch are pretty similar. It'll focus. Okay, so I'm holding up a card to kind of get it to focus on my hand. So the two swatches closest to my thumb are the original formula, and the two closest to my pinky are the new formula. I think as far as color goes, they are pretty similar. I mean, it's going to be a little bit difficult to get both to kind of reflect light in the same way. But hopefully you'll be able to kind of see the difference in texture there. Like the new formulation, it almost seems a bit moussey, like it's how do I describe it? It's almost like it's sitting on top of my skin a little bit more, whereas the liquid, you can see a little bit more of like my underlying skin texture. Like all the little lines and everything in my hand. So I guess we'll see if that translates onto the eyelid. And I think these have kind of had enough time to set as much as they're going to. So I'm going to do like a bit of a smear test here. I did this the other day, and I think it's pretty clear. You can see the original formula did actually smear a lot more, and you can see that kind of sparkle migrating down my hand, whereas I don't think the outline of the new formulation has budged like at all. So I would say that's definitely an improvement, especially if you are kind of prone to rubbing at your eyes or anything like that. So going on to the actual kind of application and demo portion. So I was kind of on the fence about whether I would apply primer. They say that you can, especially with the new formula, but I think with this type of formula, it's supposed to be so easy and effortless and kind of one of those like 5-minute face type products that adding an extra step of applying primer just seems to, you know, frustrate that. So I'm going to skip the primer, although I do typically wear primer with eyeshadow, especially powder eyeshadow. So right now it's about 1:30, so hopefully I'll be able to get in probably a good 9-hour wear test, I'm thinking. So we will check in at the end of the night to see kind of how everything's working. Okay, so for the application, so what they say for the new formulation, which I found interesting, they say it's effortless one wash application. They say to swipe on one eye at a time, which makes sense because it sets. You want to blend it out when it's still kind of malleable. They say to wait 5 to 10 seconds, and I think this is a new instruction. With the 10-second eyeshadow, I can't recall if their original marketing was that like it set in 10 seconds or only took 10 seconds to apply, but I didn't see anything from any of those other websites, either Revolve or Violet Grey, about waiting 10 seconds to blend. So I was wondering if when they say wait 5 to 10 seconds, if they were reinterpreting what 10 seconds in the actual name of the product means, or if they were just borrowing from the original product name. And then after you've waited 5 to 10 seconds, after swiping this on, they say to tap with finger and eyeshadow brush to blend, don't rub, which I found very interesting. They say the formula doesn't require special skills, time, or tools. Just sweep over lids for a loose, easy, undone look. It's wearable hotness in one swipe. So with the original formula, at least on the Violet Grey website, it says that you shake the tube until you hear the metal balls click before each use. You glide the doe foot applicator over clean, dry lids, and you quickly blend with fingertips or a synthetic brush. Shades can be layered or worn alone. So slightly different kind of techniques in terms of application, I think, there. So with all that in mind, I have two kind of similar brushes that I think I'll be using. They're not the same brush, but they're very similar. So this is the Rare Beauty, I think this is actually the concealer brush. It's the one with the kind of synthetic angled head like so. And then I also have the Zoeva 146 Concealer Perfector brush, which as you can see is very, very similar. So I thought that would be kind of the fairest comparison. And you can definitely apply these just with your fingertips, at least the old one. I haven't tried the new one on my eyes. But especially for getting into like the very inner corner and that kind of thing, I find that a brush can be helpful, at least on my eye shape. So I think I said I was using the old formula on the left eye because there's an L in old. Very scientific here. Okay, so shaking it and then swiping this on. So you can see they both have like a kind of paddle type applicator. And I guess I'll use the Zoeva brush. So I think for my skin tone and eye color, I think this is a nice color if you're going for just like a one all over the lid type look. So I think that is pretty well blended there. You can see there's definitely color, but it's not kind of too in your face. I'm gonna see if I can just take a little bit, I'm just kind of using the tip of the brush. I'm not sure if there was really anything underneath, but I went for kind of really natural makeup today because like I said, I'm getting my hair done, I'm gonna be wearing a mask. And especially like when they're washing your hair, I didn't want anything that was going to be like super obvious when it wore off. So I used the Tower 28 Sunny Days, and then I used the Kosas concealer and the Kosas Cloud Set in the shade Airy. And then I did have a lip oil from Kosas on in the shade Dip. I might have to reapply that. It does feel very comfortable on the lips, but it does kind of lose some of its shine as I've been drinking my iced coffee. And I use the Kosas Clear Brow Gel as well. So I'll have everything linked down below for you. All right, so same style of applicator, and this is gonna be interesting. Okay. Hopefully I can manage to make these look fairly similar so I don't look like a crazy person. Taking my brush and see, so I'm just, this one might actually be less blendable. Like you saw from me swiping on my hand that it definitely had kind of less, you know, maneuverability once it kind of set. Okay, so that is the new formula and that is the old formula. I think I might have to do a little bit of work here just to kind of even them up. So I'm going to just kind of try to get in, and instead of totally waiting, I know I was talking a little bit, so it might have been a little bit longer than 5 or 10 seconds. So if you like a liquid shadow that kind of stays where you put it, you might really like this new formula. I'm wondering if it might be a little bit less kind of user-friendly for that kind of easy look that I just mentioned. Like you can see, I was able to create kind of a defined eye shape. So going back to my other brush here, and again, shaking this. I don't think I mind having to shake it really, but I can certainly understand why some people would find that annoying. You see, this is kind of getting a little bit higher on my crease. I think this one looks a tad darker, less coppery. Like I said, this old one was the shade Globe, and this new one is the shade Blaze. So I'm going to put a little bit more. I know they said don't swipe, but I might have to actually clean this up a bit with a Q-tip. Okay, so I have some micellar water on a Q-tip. It seems to be kind of removing fairly easily, so that's good. If you do have any kind of mistakes or anything you want to clean up. I think I'm going to use some micellar water on the other eye too, just to kind of try to match up the shape as best I can. If I were staying at home, I'd probably just leave it, but yeah, and you can see, especially with hooded lids, like it does, I think, help open the eye up if you do actually go into the crease. So I think this is as far zoomed in as I can get. So hopefully you can kind of see both of these side by side. Like this one, I think the texture on this eye actually looks nicer. Like where I try to build it up on this eye, it just looks a little kind of like scaly Hopefully that's coming across. All right, so I'm going to apply some mascara off camera, and I'll be back to wrap up before I go out for my haircut. Okay, so that is it for the finished look with the mascara. Like I said, it's about 140 now, we'll say. So I will check in with you guys in a little bit. And I guess my thoughts after initial application is that I do think the older formula was a little bit more user-friendly and kind of fit the claims of being super easy to use a little bit better. But we'll see kind of how it does in terms of creasing against the newer formula. So like I said, I will check back with you guys in a little bit here. Hey guys, so it is the end of the night. It's about 10:30, so about 9 hours after I applied the eye products. And I'm coming at you with fresh hair, but not so fresh makeup. I actually had my hair up in some clips earlier because I was cooking and I just needed it off my face. But anyway, so some interesting developments here. So let me zoom you in for a close-up look. So hopefully you will be able to see, I don't think there's any creasing on this eyelid. This is the old formula and this was with no primer. This eye, however, this is the new formula, and hopefully you'll be able to see, again, trying to get as close in as I can here, but I noticed some balding on this eye, so like right in the center of the lid, like right there. And I did try to layer it a little bit, but that was more kind of on the inner corner and a little bit up here. So I don't know if I actually went over that area there on the lid, but I think you can tell. I think the finish on the old formula, it still looks a lot shinier than the new formula. And like I said, I don't see any major creasing. I mean, maybe the tiniest bit like right here. But I think for like 8 hours of wear, it's really not bad at all. This bald spot, by the way, I noticed that after I got back from getting my hair cut. So I'd say maybe even like 3 or 4 hours in, so it's not like that's a recent development. So based on the appearance, the application, and the wear of these two products, I would say that the new formula is not as good as the old formula, unfortunately. So if you already have the old formula and you enjoy it, I would say you don't need to rush out to buy the new formula. In fact, if you have been interested in the old product and you haven't picked it up yet, I would say maybe try to purchase it now at one of those retailers that is still stocking it. Or like a FabFitFun or BoxyCharm add-on sale, they might have some of the older formula. But I would say this is a case where it's definitely not an improvement. I guess I would understand a little bit more if there were some like environmental or ethical reason for reformulating. But since it just appears to have been kind of like an ease of use type reason where this old formula was very liquidy and so you had to shake it, and this new formula is more gel based so you don't have to. I don't think that's such a big deal, to be honest. They talked about it not spilling, but I think, let's see here. Okay, yeah, so it does spill. So yeah, so I guess you want to be a little bit careful with that, but you know, as long as you hold it upright and everything, I don't think it should be such a bad, it shouldn't be too difficult to kind of keep it in the tube. In fact, let's go ahead and see what happens when I hold this one upside down. Okay, so it is a much thicker formula. So you saw in the kind of like rub test that I did that the old formula did kind of transfer a little bit if you rubbed it. I did, I think, kind of scratch my eye a little bit earlier, and I did notice some sparkle on my finger after I did that. I'd say as long as the like general outline of the shadow looks okay, and if it does kind of move around a little bit, it's not the end of the world. I'd say I still prefer that over something that is like kind of crusty looking and balding, and I think generally just not as pretty as the old formula. So those are my thoughts on the reformulation of this Kosas product. Let me know what you think, if you prefer one over the other. I thought about trying to do a second day wear test. I might still do that. If I do, I'll insert it. I think the fact that I prefer the look of the old formula, it's not just a wear thing, it's the actual appearance, and I don't think that's going to change based on using a primer or anything like that.
Okay, so I couldn't resist giving it one more try with primer. So you'll see here that I am applying the Fenty eye primer to both eyelids and just blending that in with the finger. So on this day I applied the new formula to both eyelids, and for the first eye I applied it and then used that Rare Beauty brush to kind of blend it out as I normally would, just kind of, I guess, sweeping it on and trying to blend it. And I don't know if it's just me, but it does look a little bit shinier on the second day that I applied it, so I don't know if that's just in my head. And then I'm using a micellar wipe to kind of fix the shape a little bit. And then kind of cleaning up with the Kosas concealer. Okay, so for the second eye, I am trying the application method they suggested, where I'm sweeping it on and then waiting a few seconds before I go in and try to tap it out to blend. And then going in with the brush, again, trying to, I guess, tap a little bit more than swipe, but like I said in the first demo portion, it's a little bit hard to kind of get into the inner corner of my eyelid with a finger and then, I guess, try to have a smooth blend into the crease. And going back in with the micellar wipe, again, to make sure that both eyes are kind of even in terms of their shape. So that is what the finished look is with the mascara on both eyes. Okay, so this is the wear test, and my eyes are looking a little watery at this point in the night. So I experienced the same issue with balding. Hopefully you can kind of see that. I know it's a little hard with lighter kind of reflective shadow, but yeah, both eyelids I had that balding issue again, and like I showed you, I did try different techniques in terms of application, and I did have a primer on both eyes.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't care for this reformulation. So again, let me know what you think. Let me know if you've tried either product, and I hope you guys are staying very safe and healthy, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.